Amanda told me Neil was released from custody last night. Why?
I don't have to share that with you.
As next of kin, I'm entitled to an update on your progress. Or lack thereof.
I didn't hold Mr. Oliver for the same reason I didn't arrest you.
Because he didn't kill Kate.
You're both liars. And while that makes you guilty of any number of things, it doesn't prove that you're killers.
I didn't lie about being on that roof. I didn't answer under advice from my counsel.
Oh, so you'd never lie to me, Mr. Warner?
I'm sure if I did, your friend from the NYPD would tell you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Peter Travers, and welcome to Popcorn, where we tell you what is poppin' in the pop culture. And there is a TV series called Secrets and Lies. This is season 2, and it stars my guest, Juliette Lewis, who plays a really tough detective in this. On season 1, she hounded Ryan Philbay like nobody's business. Now, I don't know about your instincts as this character, you know? It didn't happen the way it was supposed to happen.
It sure didn't.
It sure didn't. So was that you? Were you in there with the writers and saying, I want to be so dead wrong that you're certainly not Sherlock.
Well, actually, no, in that they did make me know it all along or something.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it's my hat's off to these writers to write a serialized story because they're leading the audience, you know, each episode to make you think one way, or then you do a curveball. So, but they have said I'm supposed to be the smartest one in the room. So who knows? I hope she gets it right. Well, I hope she gets her.
I've only seen the beginning of this one.
Yeah.
Is that you're dealing with another murder, of course.
Yeah.
With Jordana Brewster's character off of a rooftop.
Yeah.
Not giving away anything. And the fact is that you suspect her husband, played by Michael Ealy.
Right.
You do. It's like, I don't care what you're saying to him. Something's going on in the eyes that I'm seeing. It says.
Yeah.
The husband usually always does it.
Well, that is a statistic, but I think also, you know, I just dealt with a police officer the other night. There's sort of
really something you did to
I did nothing.
Some protests.
Well, the UN's in town, so there's a lot of security, but they're that gift of, well, I don't know, it's a gift, but being authoritarian, you're put off kilter, and I think that's how they read guilty or innocence, or just see what you think. Because sometimes guilty people give it up. They just start by over-explaining or lying, or that's a way to show your guilt. But I think, so here, the way this series goes is one murder, or episodes, and that's what appealed to me about it. We can take our time with character development and story, and it's called Secrets and Lies. So you slowly learn. This season is about a family who seems to have it all, success, and they're of a different tax bracket, and then we sort of start seeing the cracks and what people aren't revealing.
Well, what I like about this family is that they're kind of media savvy.
Yes.
So they know how to manipulate.
That's the difference.
They're going to be pretty tough on you, I think.
They are.
Yeah.
And in this season, we see sort of midway the cracks in my armor and what's my going on behind the scenes. And that was a trip for me, too, to play her, because I had figured her out on the job, and then to sort of reveal her emotional life, because she is a human being. And so they get to show that in I think, episode 6 or 7 or 8, somewhere. Like why I don't work with a partner. We learn a little bit.
Well, I think I'm asking this question, and I know the answer in terms of whether you're method or not. But how much do you live with Detective Cornell when you're not actually shooting it?
Well, I'm wondering what you assume about me, because I think people assume.
Well, in front of an audience, making people crazy and enjoying. And just, you know, it's like, whoa, it's a mosh pit out there, and I'm diving right in. So that's how I see you. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Wow, can you write, I need this, what you just said is a metaphor for my existence, right or wrong.
Well, you don't do that. Nobody can do that
That's nice.
without having this passion to do it.
Well,
something inside you coming out.
Yeah.
Now I'll shut up and let you.
No, but I like what you're saying. I think, well, I'm an energy stirrer, or I don't know, we can use all these metaphors, fire starter, but I like things. That's why it was incredible to work with Marty or Oliver Stone or people that they work in a visceral realm. But method, so you asked about method. No, I just commit really hard, and I guess I channel a certain level of velocity. Is that the word?
Ooh,
veracity?
You
Which
can
one?
have both. You know,
within
we
my
have
work,
the ferocity, and it's really moving around.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah, that's it.
But I'm not trained in some way of conditioning. It's funny because even when I did The Other Sister with Gary Marshall, and
that's the biggest loss in the world.
Yeah.
Just to lose Gary.
Yeah.
That must have hit you to have worked with him and to know him that way.
Yeah. And he's it was a really special film, really special experience, and he's incredible. But so that role, my co-star Giovanni Ribisi, he would be what you call method or stays in character even when we would eat lunch. And I sort of, when I'm playing a part, I have to sort of stay within their mannerisms, but I have to also release the energy of the person to be able to give it my energy, if you know what I mean. So,
well, I do, but that character is, somebody who's dealing with tremendous mental challenge.
Yeah, so that was interesting, but I wouldn't consider myself method anyway in that sense. Just, I like to commit hard.
Are you more rock star than actor?
I had a label for what I called
really
myself.
A label, but we hate.
Or I made it with label, word, whatever. I never care term. You can just call me what you like. But I called it. I'm an emotionalist. So basically, using emotion, and there's frequencies within emotion. So like when I did a Sam Shepard play, his stuff, it was Spitfire. It was called Fool for Love.
Oh, God, it's everything. Two people just going at each other.
And it's a verbal sparring match. And but it has a rhythm to it and a pulse. So when you say rock star, I just deal with emotions, which have energy to them. And with music, you're also using musical sounds, and that has like I always say with a Neil Young guitar solo, it literally within 5 seconds you can be imbued with a feeling from what he's playing. So I feel like music is more of a shortcut to the emotional heart of things, and acting is a bit more cerebral, even though it can get you in the gut too.
Well, it can, but because of this gift that you have, I think, for being so immediate to people without somebody saying, look at my technique. I'm playing this character. Watch me play her.
Right.
And you're standing over here. The character's over here, not with you. I think that's why when we see you in certain movies, if we're looking at you Natural Born Killers, we're scared of you.
Okay.
We think, oh, look.
I think
so adorable, and she might kill me. That's it. And we believe that.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
So what's churning? Do research on you after you get through the stuff that the tabloids say.
Yeah.
It's funny because I look at you, when you were a kid, you got arrested for some reason that you were in a nightclub?
It's a really funny story.
Is it?
Here's what you'll find out is, oh my gosh, now I'm going to quote, I can't name drop. Okay, one time, I'm going to tell you, Sean Penn said to me one time when I was 19 or 20, at the time when I was coming up, he looked at me and said, wow, you're, oh, now I have to get the quote. Your rebellion detached her. People like me, I went to the Oscars with this funny hairdo, or I did this, that, and the other. It's really organic, the way I oh, it's weird. Now I feel self-conscious. I'm talking about myself, but I have to.
I don't know why.
It's my parents raised the individual in me, and I always say my family were a group of individuals, and they
Dad was an
nurtured.
actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you grew up.
The humor and you know, the nurturing of imagination and belief, and you know, when you're running around at 7 years old and think you're anything you want to be, my parents would play along, like they nurtured the dreamer in all us kids, and I didn't have a lot of oppression at home, and I probably had a very laxed discipline and stuff like that, so I actually look for structure. It's helpful for me. But, you know, I try to this, as you age, you know, I have priorities that are very adult, and that's family and my relationships and my health and all these things. But as an artist, I try to be as daring and kind of wild as possible. You know, I'm in a business that, you know, that road will try to get you into conformity because they want to package and sell you and make you.
This is what you do. So
they're like, oh, you're this.
Yeah.
We're going to label you this.
Yeah.
And even if you look at my career after Cape Fear, I do Natural Born Killers. After Natural Born Killers, I did a Nora Ephron comedy with Steve Martin and Adam Sandler. Nobody saw it, but I was always like, I wanted to do the opposite of what I had just did. I don't know why.
But I think it's a great plan if you could follow it.
If we could follow it. But then you never know what's going to hit. And then that becomes what defines your...
But I remember after Cape Fear, you're doing a Woody Allen movie called Husbands and Wives. And I'm looking at you, and I can see you in the back of that car, where Woody just relentlessly puts you in close-up.
Yeah.
Woody and what he's written, while telling him it's wonderful.
Right.
You're going, something's terribly wrong with that. But at your age then, what were you, 20, 21?
I was 19, 20.
Yeah. I mean, and this is this camera in a Woody Allen movie saying, you know what, this scene's about you.
Yeah.
It's all about you. So something in you has to say, I want this.
Yeah.
I want that challenge.
Yeah, here's the trip is, again, I go back to my funny upbringing, is I was very self-possessed about my mojo, for lack of a better word, for whatever it is I owned, but I was also really judgmental of myself and had a lethal, you know, self-criticism, and nothing was good enough, and all that head trip, and I learned through how to tame that noise. Like, for instance, Oliver Stone was really key in helping me. But it's funny because I do look back. I'm like, where did I get this self-possession? Because I had it since my parents would have told you as a kid. I was like, I would just have this sort of laid-back cockiness, for lack of a better phrase, too. But then I was also totally inept. Inarticulate, introverted. So I always have been
it's
a
so
mashup.
weird because with Cape Fear, which is that's the big breakthrough. It's like you had done things before, but now there's an Oscar nomination, and you're with Robert De Niro. You do the whole sucking thumb scene. So much more than that, because what he's doing is, and it is difficult to articulate what's going on, but that give and take of him saying, "Can I put my arm around you?"
Yeah.
It's hard to. Mr. De Niro was just here a few weeks ago, and I was asking him about that, and he will never go there. He will never talk about that process at which something is happening. But when you're acting with him, what is he doing?
Wild about, and I just spoke at this Scorsese tribute. It was wonderful because him as a director, he seems to know intuitively what each actor needs. And at that time, I'd come from TV sitcoms in the late 80s where they would get, you know, my lean and this and that. They wanted you to be upright and be bright and spout lines. And I just was like, I need to quit this. This is horrible. And so then...
So you were jaded already.
I was totally jaded at 16. I was going to give up the biz. And then Marty came along, and I was like, oh, he wanted to actually see a person who's young. Now, mind you, I was not the character I was playing, and so that's what people thought. They thought he had just plucked this ingenue, and this is who she was, and they put a camera on her. I understood the tango that we were doing in that scene and the manipulation. I just didn't know how to talk about it. So when we would be in rehearsals, I was like, yeah, okay. And we would just go through it. So he knew, oh, okay, we don't need to talk with Juliet. I'm just going to put, this is the blocking, and we go through it. And in doing that, he allowed me to hone instincts. And he kind of knew that I was this thing not yet formed that had all purpose and instinct. And he just created that scene. He did 2 cameras. Because I was also not conditioned where you have Jessica Lange, who was a trained theater actress. She worked totally different. De Niro was doing all kinds of stuff to prepare for Max Cady that Marty would say, because we would talk, go over the day's work, and he was like, De Niro's over, oh, I got to go visit De Niro's trailer. He's with a church lady. So he's doing whatever process he needs to get into the realm of Max Cady. But once we were on set, it's transcendence. That's what you're looking for. And that was the other thing, because I'll speak at acting schools sometimes, and you hear all these urban legends of how these guys work. But I only saw total professionalism and a person from De Niro. I didn't know what he did, the backstory. He just arrived, and we became present in the roles.
Well, I saw something on a DVD thing that was done at the time that basically said the thumb thing he threw at you, that basically you didn't know that was coming.
Yeah.
And that's why, if I were that young as you were, and this was happening,
yeah,
and yet your reaction is what they used.
So, yeah, that scene, I did know in the scene he's going to come over and he plants a kiss on her, possibly, or he does. So we knew that was going to be an invasion of space, and she was going to react however she was, complicated and torn. So Marty, before that scene, he said, so Bob's he's going to do something here, and just go with it. Or he just said, he didn't want to say what to do or what not to do, but he did give me he's going to do something different than the scripted thing. So I knew whatever it was. But he used the first take. We only did 2 takes. But that's what's so great. You don't often get that with directors who know how to capture what they need from the actors.
But it sounds exciting. That's where it sounds like something that's possible if you're on stage as a musician. And you're just out there and you're going with what you're feeling.
Yes.
You can't really do that in a lot of... You don't know what the director's going to use in a take. You don't know what that movie's going to look like the end.
Yeah.
So that's why I think with you and people knowing how direct you are, I don't know, I still haven't gotten to who the real Juliet is. But I'm saying to you that if you go on the hated internet...
Yeah.
It always goes back to you being arrested for something that seems so innocent to me. That you were in a club?
Yeah. That
was it? In a club?
Yeah.
Underage?
So the cops, the club didn't have its liquor license, and me and my girlfriend just wanted to go dancing. But this is the irony. I won't tell you
the real story,
the war stories I've lived through, but that wasn't it.
That wasn't it.
That wasn't it. That was 2 youngins wanting to go out dancing.
To do that.
And then the cops were like, raise your hand, anybody who's under 18, we'll let you go. And then they didn't let us go.
The point I'm trying to make is that if you look at this image that seems to have been created, it's when you're very young. It's that arrest. It's drugs. It's you dated Brad Pitt. That's what's there.
Here's my thing. Whenever you see the path on the internet, people have preconceived ideas from the roles I've played.
That's right.
And Natural Born Killers was a very big deal. I think because people weren't used to that kind of rage from especially a young girl. You've seen guys play psychopaths, but I found it interesting. Woody, who was in it with me, he didn't often get asked or thought of as he might be a loose cannon or slightly crazy, but
even though he is in the best way.
Oh, he's the best.
Yeah, right.
He's the best.
Yeah.
He's like my brother. But me, they had a little, I just think it's not common to see this level of emotional conviction in those darker palette. And for whatever reason, since I've been very young, I've been able to access or dramatize a darker palette.
I'm obsessed with, you know, you and the